Every year, I get up in this very same spot on Tisha B'Av, and I speak on the kina of Arzei Alvanan, the Asar Arugi Malchus. Chazal tell us, the Gemara Shoshana, that the tira of a tzaddik is comparable to the Churban Beit Shemesh. That's why one of the reasons we say the Arzei Alvanan on Tisha B'Av. Today feels like Tisha B'Av. The tira of Chaim, a tzaddik, is doimit to the Churban Beit Shemesh. We should all be sitting on the floor and rising kriya. Yisayim hayinu ve'einav, as we heard before. So many people woke up this morning and felt like they're Yisayim. They lost their father. Over the years, I used to meet people, especially the last couple of years, by chassads, I met people and they used to ask me how Chaim's doing. And they used to show me on their cell phone, they had Chaim's number saved as Abba. How many people had his number saved as Abba on their cell phone? Yisayim hayinu ve'einav. Like one of the person told me on the plane from Florida yesterday, they were saying, who are they going to call or text at 2 o'clock in the morning now? I guess Avi's going to have to stay up. I had the privilege and zaycha to be together with Chaim from day one of the Minyan, I don't know, 27, 28 years ago, whatever it was. And they learned so much from him. I got a little insight on how he used to run his day. Starting, like we heard, he used to wake up the boys in the morning multiple times. He used to drive them to Shachris. He helped get people jobs. He helped get people into yeshivas. He helped them with their parents, whatever issues they're dealing with, or if it was rehab or any counseling they needed. I remember once we went down, the kevura of the Minyan went down to Freehold. He pleaded before a judge to give one of the bachrim a second chance. And Baruch Hashem, he was matzliach. And today this person has a beautiful family and a successful business. That's only one dugma out of hundreds. He continued, he followed through with the lives of everyone, get them to yeshivas in Eretz Yisrael, and then getting married, and then continuing like you heard from Maishi, continuing with the children and the schools and all that. I was zoiche to be his roommate in Eretz Yisrael when we went on the trips a few times in the beginning. I think it goes back about 15 years ago. And I noticed, a little, maybe snooping a little bit, but I noticed Chaim had a whole regiment of pills and vitamins and flushes, and I didn't even know what to have them recalled. I think he took more in one day than most people take their whole lifetime. And I realized after that Chaim, he wasn't a strong man. He was healthy, but he wasn't strong. He didn't have the physical koiches. Yet he continued to do what he did day in and day out. Because his whole life was for other people. He lived his life strictly for other people. A few years ago, there was one of the bachrim over here, Baruch Hashem, he's married today. He was going back to Eretz Yisrael after the summer. And on Thursday, he asked me maybe he could get a ride to the airport, to JFK. So I said, I'll think about it. I'll see if I have time, whatever. Sundays, JFK, going up there could be a nightmare. So I was thinking about over Shabbos, and it bothered me, and I said, this guy doesn't live here. He doesn't have any family, obviously, to take him to the airport. I should do it, give up my Sunday. It's not a big deal. So I went to him after the davening. I said, okay, what time do you want to leave? He said, no, I got a ride already. Who's taking you? Chaim. I blinked. Chaim didn't. Chaim never blinked. When something came his way to do, he never hesitated. If he knew he could help somebody, he was there in an instant. That's the difference between Chaim and everybody else. He never took consideration himself. It was always what he could do to help somebody else. I learned a tremendous lesson that day. Many times after Meyer, I have to schlep out to Jackson or Tom's River to give people rides, but Baruch Hashem. Yesterday, after Shal Shudas, I was trying to learn something, whatever Gemara I was learning, and I started crying. It hit me, I don't know exactly when it happened, but based on all the tilms that are going on before Shabbos and everything, it was, I started crying, and I wasn't able to concentrate, I wasn't able to learn. And I looked at the Gemara that I was learning, the Gemara in the Daram Daf Nun. Famous story everybody knows, Rebbe Kiva and his wife Rachel. She went to greet him after he came back after 24 years. She was dressed in not nice clothing, and she threw herself on the floor, and the Talmidim tried to kick her away. Who are you? What are you doing here? And Rebbe Kiva said, stop. Shali v'shalachem shalahu. Everything that I have, all my Torah, all your Torah, is hers. It's all because of her. She was my nefesh to let me go learn. I could say this to the rebbetzin on behalf of everybody. As we heard before, her Mesiras Nefesh to let Chaim do what he does. I could say, Shali v'shelanu, Minyan Shelanu v'shalach, is all yours chus. Not only did you take care of him physically, but there were times when you overlooked it. There were many times you didn't want him to go to the Minyan. You held him back, or you tried to. Chaim had to sneak around your protocols and your rules and your regiments, and I know that for a fact that he did many times, just to get up here to the Minyan, just to do what he can. Even the Shabbatons, I remember we worked so hard in the Shabbatons, so many weeks preparing for the Shabbatons, and by the time it came to Shabbaton, Chaim couldn't move anymore. He was totally falling apart. 12 o'clock Friday night, told Chaim, go to sleep. We have it covered. There's enough guys. We're hanging out. We'll take care of everything. Don't worry about it. He went to the room. A half hour later, he was back. He just couldn't. He just couldn't part. He had the achrayus was in his bones. His life was for other people. Didn't make a difference. And yes, after every Shabbaton, he got sick for a couple of weeks, and we know what happened. Yeah. Chaim also was not a Megushim person at all. I've been with him for 30 years. The only two things Gashmis he had, besides the earpiece, were his cell phones, and there were times he had maybe 2 cell phones, I think, until recently, and his pickup truck. Those are the two things, the only two things Gashmis. He wasn't into food, he wasn't into clothing, he wasn't into vacations, he wasn't into anything Gashmis. It was not a normal thing. Totally nothing. He used to go we used to go out to eat. He used to either pick at the food or not, or look at it. He used to go to Shabbatons, he brought his own food. That's the nature of Chaim was. A lot of talk has been spoken about what's going to be going forward. Mi ten tmurasai, the answer is nothing. There's no tmura for Chaim. Skilu Lebron made a mold of Chaim Abadi, and as soon as that was finished, he threw out the mold. There is no replacement for Chaim. But as I told Mrs. Abadi on Thursday in the hospital, I said Chaim revolutionized this whole concept of dealing with teens at risk from B'nai Torah, from yeshiva families especially. And over the years, there are many people that have come through the doors of the Minyan that have gone out either in Lakewood or in other cities. We have 2 of them here that live in Muncie and have programs over there that Baruch Hashem have been tremendously matzliach because of the shimush, because of the hadracha they got from Chaim. When I asked Chaim to be Me'elis Yosher, but more than just being a Me'elis Yosher, he should ask Rabbi Hashem to give siyata d'shmaya to everyone that's going to continue over here in the Minyan, including his son-in-law, Rabbi Reb David, all the Night Seder Chevra, Shneir, Yehuda, Yaakov, Ruvain, And I know I'm missing some people, but you know who you are. You're there every single night. And I don't want to forget, I was very touched when I was in the hospital on Thursday. The girls came from the mentors, and they met with Chaim, and they spoke to Chaim. And they put on their phone a lot of their friends, and they all said the same thing. If not for you, I wouldn't have been this. If not for you, we wouldn't have done this. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do that. They became who they are. They got chizuk. Someone didn't even think they had it in them to become mentors. And that's what Chaim did to everyone he met, everyone that came in touch with him. He believed in them, and he gave them the tools and the koiches to believe in themselves and to continue. And that's what we're asking you, Chaim, to please be daven for everyone, all of us that are going to be continuing, that we should be oyev abrisim mekarvon l'Torah. We all see that iconic picture of Chaim with the Sefer Torah, and it happens to be that's the first time I ever saw Chaim get emotional, and that's because the theme of the Minyan from day one was Chaim always, he told me many times, and we always had to build it around Torah. There always had to be shiurim and chavrusas and learning and whatever else programs that they evolved around Torah and tefillah. Like Rosh Yeshiva said, oyev abrisim mekarvon l'Torah. Mocha Hashem dimim v'kalpanim bil mavz l'nezach.